Endo 0-1. Most people focus on the colorful exteriors, the friendly faces, the entertaining personalities of the animatronics. But strip all that away, and what do you find? The skeleton, the bare bones, the mechanical horror that lies beneath every friendly facade. Animatronics are machines that power the mascots at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza and the main antagonists of the Five Nights at Freddy's franchise. According to Phone Guy, they must be allowed to walk around at least at night. Otherwise, they will encounter mobility issues as a result of some sort of malfunction, claimed to be caused by their servos locking up. Endo 01 is the endoskeleton, the metal framework that gives animatronics their shape and movement. In the first game, you might catch glimpses of it in the parts and service room, standing motionless among the spare heads and limbs. But when the power goes out, when the systems fail, Endo 01 becomes active. And that's when you realize how truly terrifying these machines are without their disguises. He also states that their programming forbids the presence of endoskeletons without outer shells. He claims that if they see a human without a costume, they assume you're an endoskeleton without its suit, and will try to help you by stuffing you into a spare Freddy Fazbear costume, complete with crossbeams, wires, and animatronic devices that will crush your body. Endo 01 represents the cold, mechanical truth behind the illusion of friendly entertainment. It's pure function without form, death without decoration. When you see Endo 01 standing in that dark corner, you're not looking at a character or a personality. You're looking at a killing machine. Chica. Chica the chicken is one of the original animatronics from Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. She's easily recognized by her bright yellow feathers, orange beak, and a bib that says, "Let's eat." On the surface, Chica looks like a cheerful mascot meant to entertain kids. But under that friendly face is something far more sinister. She was part of the first generation of animatronics built to sing, dance, and serve food to customers. During the day, Chica stands on stage next to Freddy and Bonnie as part of the main band. But when the lights go out, she becomes hostile, roaming the restaurant in search of victims. In the original Five Nights at Freddy's game, Chica patrols the right side of the building, creeping down the hallway toward the player's office. She is known for appearing in the right door's blind spot, and if you don't shut the door in time, she will jump scare you. Chica's movements are jerky and unnatural, thanks to her stiff, outdated endoskeleton. Her beak can open unnaturally wide, revealing sharp rows of metal teeth that add to her terrifying appearance. Like the other animatronics, Chica is haunted by the restless spirit of a child who was murdered during the infamous missing children incident. The animatronics confuse the night guard for their killer, which is why they try to forcefully stuff them into a spare animatronic suit, a process that is fatal. One unique thing about Chica is her close connection to the kitchen. In the game, you can hear clattering and crashing sounds when she enters that area, but her image never appears on the kitchen camera feed. Over the years, Chica has appeared in many different forms across the FNAF series. There's Toy Chica, who looks cuter but removes her beak and eyes when she's hunting. Withered Chica, whose face is shattered and jaw hangs wide open. Phantom Chica, Nightmare Chica, Rockstar Chica, and even Glamrock Chica in Security Breach. Each version brings a new twist on her design, but no matter the version, she remains a twisted symbol of corrupted innocence. A once cheerful mascot, now haunted by the spirit of a murdered child, endlessly roaming the halls for revenge. Phone Guy. Phone Guy was the one friendly voice guiding you through the darkness. Ralph, better known as Phone Guy, is the deuteragonist of Five Nights at Freddy's 1 and Five Nights at Freddy's 2, and the tritagonist of Five Nights at Freddy's 3. He most recently makes his appearance as the protagonist of Five Nights at Freddy's interactive novel, The Week Before, where his name is revealed to be Ralph, after 10 years of going unnamed. Voiced by Scott Cawthon himself, Phone Guy was a night guard just like you. He worked at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza during the day shift, then stayed behind to record those messages. Those warnings that would later save countless night guards' lives. But Phone Guy knew something was wrong. He knew about the animatronics' behavior. He knew about the missing children, and yet he stayed. Night after night, he'd call you with tips. Check the lights, close the doors, conserve your power. His voice was calm, reassuring, even when describing the most horrifying situations. But then came night 4 of the first game. The call begins normally, but something's different. Phone Guy sounds distant, worried, and then you hear it. The sounds of Freddy's music box, the groaning of metal, Phone Guy's panicked breathing. "Oh no! Oh no!" The line goes to static. It's assumed that Foxy was responsible for Phone Guy's death, though the exact circumstances remain unclear. Phone Guy, Ralph, the man who tried to help everyone survive, couldn't save himself. His final moments were spent in that same office where you now sit, facing the same animatronics that would later hunt you. The greatest tragedy? He never got to say goodbye. Golden Freddy. Golden Freddy's. He doesn't act like the other animatronics, and that's what makes him so scary. While Freddy, Bonnie, and Chica walk around the restaurant, Golden Freddy just appears out of nowhere, almost like a ghost. He looks a lot like Freddy Fazbear, but with a few big differences. His fur is golden yellow, his hat and bow tie are black, and his eyes are dark and empty. Most of the time, he looks slumped over, like he's just a lifeless costume. This makes him feel less like a normal robot, and more like something supernatural. In the first FNAF game, Golden Freddy doesn't move through the building like the others. Instead, you might suddenly see a poster of him in one of the rooms, or he might pop up right inside your office without warning. When that happens, his giant face appears on the screen, and the words, "It's me," flash again and again. If you don't quickly pull up the camera, Golden Freddy crashes the game. It feels like he's breaking the game itself, which is way scarier than just a normal jump scare. Fans believe that he's haunted by the ghost of one of the missing children who were killed at the restaurant. Many think this ghost's name is Cassidy. Clues from different games suggest that Cassidy's spirit is super powerful and really angry, which is why Golden Freddy is so different from the other animatronics. Golden Freddy also shows up in other games. In FNAF 2, he appears as a full body that just sits there, lifeless but still dangerous. In Ultimate Custom Night, Golden Freddy is a big part of the game, and some fans believe the entire game is like a nightmare created by him to trap the main villain, William Afton, the man who murdered the children. Golden Freddy is also connected to a place called Fredbear's Family Diner, which was the restaurant before Freddy Fazbear's Pizza existed. Fredbear looks a lot like Golden Freddy, and many fans think they might be the same animatronic or closely linked. This is important because the famous Bite of 83 happened at Fredbear's Diner, which is one of the biggest events in the FNAF story. He doesn't just scare you by attacking, he messes with the game and plays tricks on your mind. That's why Golden Freddy is one of the most mysterious and unforgettable characters in the whole Five Nights at Freddy's series. Bonnie the rabbit, is one of the original animatronics at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, and despite his bright purple color and simple design, he's often considered the most unsettling character by fans, and even by FNAF creator Scott Cawthon himself, who once said Bonnie was the animatronic that scared him the most while developing the game. Bonnie's main role during the day is as the guitarist for the animatronic band, playing alongside Freddy and Chica on stage. He wears a red bow tie and carries an electric guitar, completing the kid-friendly rock star look. But as soon as the night shift begins, Bonnie's entire vibe changes. He's usually the first animatronic to become active each night, starting his patrol early and aggressively stalking the night guard. One of the things that makes Bonnie stand out is his unpredictability. In the original game, Bonnie primarily attacks from the left side of the building, moving through several rooms before appearing right outside the office door. What catches guards off is how fast he can appear, sometimes showing up at the door without much warning, forcing guards to react quickly. Unlike Freddy, Bonnie doesn't have any sound cues before his jump scare, making his attacks feel more sudden and shocking. Design-wise, Bonnie is one of the more clean-cut animatronics at first glance, but there's something eerie about his face, especially when he's up close. His signature look includes wide, soulless eyes and a large, toothy grin, which becomes even creepier when he stares directly into the camera. His endoskeleton is visible in certain close-ups, reminding players that under the friendly fursuit is a cold, mechanical monster. Bonnie's lore is tied to the same grim event as the other original animatronics, the missing children incident. The prevailing fan theory is that Bonnie is possessed by a child named Jeremy, based on minigame clues and community speculation. This restless spirit is believed to be the driving force behind Bonnie's aggressive nighttime behavior, as he, like the others, seeks vengeance by targeting anyone he mistakes for the killer. Across the FNAF series, Bonnie has appeared in many different forms. In FNAF 2, there's Toy Bonnie, a sleeker, more modern version with a bright blue design and a more plastic look. Withered Bonnie also makes his debut here, a battered, broken-down version of the original, missing his entire face and left arm, which reveals the exposed metal endoskeleton beneath. Fans often point to Withered Bonnie as one of the scariest designs in the series because of his hollow eye sockets and gaping face. Later versions include Nightmare Bonnie, a twisted, sharp-toothed nightmare creature introduced in FNAF 4, and Ignited Bonnie from the Joy of Creation fan game series, where Bonnie is portrayed as a burned skeleton skeletal version of himself. Bonnie also has a counterpart in Security Breach, known as Glamrock Bonnie. Whether he's the first to move, the first to appear at your door, or the first to jump scare you, Bonnie keeps players on edge from the very start of every night. Foxy the pirate is a red, weathered fox with an eye patch, a hook for a hand, and a wild, disheveled look that immediately sets him apart from the other animatronics. Unlike the other animatronics, Foxy doesn't start the night in the main stage area. Instead, he's hiding in a dark corner of the Pirate Cove, a place where he waits in silence until the night shift begins. While the other animatronics move in a predictable, Foxy is different. He's fast, aggressive, and moves in a way that is both unsettling and deadly. Foxy's most notable feature is his unique behavior. Rather than slowly making his way to the security guard office like the others, Foxy charges down the hall at full speed, rushing to the door and attacking with lightning-fast reflexes if the player isn't quick enough to shut the door. The result is brutal. In the first 5 nights at Freddy's game, Foxy behaves differently from the other animatronics. He stays hidden in Pirate Cove and remains inactive as long as the player checks his camera feed regularly. However, if the player neglects Pirate Cove for too long, Foxy will begin to emerge, becoming more aggressive as the nights progress. Once Foxy fully exits Pirate Cove, his attacks become much more frequent and dangerous. Foxy's design tells a story of decay and neglect. His fur is ripped, exposing his metal endoskeleton, and his jaw is lined with sharp metal teeth. Unlike the other animatronics, Foxy looks like he's been through a lot, with missing parts and a malfunctioning voice box that sometimes lets out garbled pirate lines. Like the other animatronics, Foxy is possessed by the spirit of a murdered child, one of the victims of the infamous missing children incident. Never officially confirmed the name, many fans believe Foxy is haunted by a boy named Fritz, based on clues from the custom night screen and other in-game hints. The theory is that Fritz's spirit is what gives Foxy his aggressive, glitchy nature, forever stuck in a broken body and driven by anger and pain. As for how Foxy became Foxy, his backstory ties into Freddy Fazbear's Pizza's dark history. Originally built to be a fun pirate mascot, Foxy was decommissioned after he began to malfunction and scare children. The out of order sign at Pirate Cove hints that the staff couldn't fully repair him, and his damaged state may have made him even more dangerous when he became possessed. Over the course of the FNAF series, Foxy has taken on different forms, such as the more playful Toy Foxy in FNAF 2, the horrifying Withered Foxy, and even the more nightmarish versions like Nightmare Foxy in FNAF 4. Foxy's unique personality and mechanics have made him a fan favorite in the Five Nights at Freddy's community. His broken-down pirate look, combined with his relentless speed, sets him apart from the other animatronics. Whether he's waiting in Pirate Cove or sprinting straight at you, Foxy remains one of the deadliest animatronics in the entire FNAF universe. Freddy Fazbear is the main mascot of Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, the big star that kids come to see. Outfitted with brown fur, a top hat, bow tie, and always holding his microphone, Freddy is supposed to be a lovable bear who sings on stage with his band. But beneath that cheerful appearance is a much darker presence that turns deadly after hours. What sets Freddy apart from the other animatronics is his stealth and strategy. In the original Five Nights at Freddy's game, Freddy is actually the last animatronic to become active, usually not moving until night 3 or later. But when he does, he's far more dangerous. Unlike Bonnie and Chica, who are easier to track, Freddy is tricky. He often hides in the shadows, with only his glowing eyes visible on the camera feed. He moves quietly through the building, and is known for slipping into the office undetected if the player doesn't pay close attention. Freddy's main attack route is through the right side of the building, and what's especially unnerving is that his jump scare is usually preceded by the haunting sound of the Toreador March. Once that music starts, it's almost always too late to react. His physical design might look polished compared to Foxy or Withered Chica, but Freddy's danger comes from his calm, calculating behavior. His movements are slow but deliberate, and by the time you realize he's close, your fate is sealed. Freddy's creepy behavior ties back to the sinister history of the pizzeria. According to the game's lore, Freddy, like the other animatronics, is possessed by the ghost of a murdered child, a victim of the missing children incident. Although the games never state names outright, fan theories, like the one from FNAF 3's minigames, suggest that Freddy is haunted by a boy named Gabriel. The Freddy animatronic becomes a vessel for this this restless spirit, whose purpose is to seek revenge on adults they believe are responsible for their death. Freddy's story doesn't end with just one game. His character evolves across the series. In FNAF 2, Toy Freddy is introduced, a shiny newer model meant to replace the original. In the same game, we also see the broken-down version of Freddy, known as Withered Freddy. FNAF 4 introduces Nightmare Freddy, a terrifying monster with razor-sharp teeth and little Freddy creatures called Freddles that crawl all over him. In FNAF Security Breach, we see the biggest twist yet. Glamrock Freddy, a version who is actually friendly to the player, helping them survive the night, flipping Freddy's usual role from predator to protector. Freddy Fazbear has become the symbol of the Five Nights at Freddy's franchise for a reason. He's not just the face of the pizzeria, he's the core of the horror, representing everything twisted about a place that was supposed to be safe for kids. Whether he's hiding in the shadows or standing proudly on stage, Freddy always reminds you that at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, nothing is ever as innocent as it seems. Cupcake? Yeah, don't let the name fool you. Carl the Cupcake, or Mr. Cupcake as he's sometimes called, might look like a harmless dessert, but he's proven to be one of the most persistent and unpredictable threats in the FNAF universe. Carl made his debut alongside Chica in the original Five Nights at Freddy's, sitting innocently on her tray as she roamed the halls. But players quickly learned that this wasn't just a prop. Carl had a life of his own. In later games, particularly FNAF 2, Carl would sometimes appear independently, jumping at players when they least expected it. What makes Carl truly unsettling isn't his size or his design, it's his unpredictability. While other animatronics follow patterns and rules, Carl seems to operate on pure chaos. He can appear anywhere, at any time, often when you're focused on bigger threats. It's psychological warfare at its finest, making players paranoid about every shadow, every corner, every seemingly innocent object. In Security Breach, Carl returns with a vengeance, now capable of independent movement and showing up in the most unexpected places throughout the Pizzaplex. He's small enough to hide almost anywhere, making him nearly impossible to track or predict. Players have reported jump scares from Carl when they thought they were completely safe. Carl the Cupcake proves size doesn't matter. Terror comes in all packages. Sometimes the smallest threats are the most dangerous because you never see them coming.